Hi guys, it's Martin here again. So here's the 6.5. It's a Chinese motor. It's not unfortunately a purebred motor like the Honda that we've got currently on there. But it's a 6.5 horsepower, so it's going to give us a bit more base power to start with. I think it's going to be fun to try and see whether or not we can get this going for it, because there is one slight problem that we have with it. The problem is it came off a generator, so it's got this piece of chunky metal that we need to get rid of. Unfortunately, it's part of the side cover that needs to go onto the motor, so we need to cut this off. And it's got a tapered shaft here. We're gonna actually need to trim that down a bit so that our clutch can fit on here. And it still has its governor here. Here's the little arm that comes out of the motor. It's got a little gear inside there that whenever it reaches the right amount of RPM at 3,500, the little arm basically pulls back on your throttle here and then restricts the motor basically from revving more than it should. Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. We can get this quickly off. Okay, so let's quickly measure how far this goes in here. Okay, so after we measured out where the casing ends, what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave like a little lip on it, just so we don't cut into the casing or hurt the casing. So what we can do, we're gonna set this vernier. So this motor basically came from an old generator. I don't know what happened to it. I bought the motor without the electrical parts, so I figured why not just put it on the go-kart thing, have some more power. And then with the other carburetor that we've got there currently on it, we can make it so a bit faster than it would have been. Okay, so here by the oil drain or oil fill plug, we're gonna need to change things up a bit there. You're gonna need to cut it away from, otherwise so they don't damage it on there. Okay, so now that we've got our line to work on, we're gonna get out the grinder quickly and then cut that piece off. So this is actually aluminium, or as if the American says aluminum. So I need just gonna fix it up with some grinding, and I'll get this all smooth and neat. And then we have to then do this tapered shaft to grind it down so it's the same basic length, thickness all over. like a little step to it, especially places that it needs, and other places it's quite good. So I believe that's sharp. I believe that will work. And now we just need to do the shaft. The shaft is another story. Okay guys, so I've got everything set now to get basically the shaft to the right size. What we're going to need to do is we're going to steal some parts quickly off the go-kart, and we're going to put them then on here and then start this motor. And then while it's running, we're going to basically grind down the shaft to the right diameter that it needs to be so we can fit our clutch on there. So let's get going. Okay, so I've already put on the exhaust. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on the starter quickly, the pull starter, and just replace the spark plug that is in there currently. And then we're going to hook up some fuel to it, and then we're going to see if we can start it. Thing is, we're going to need to maybe mount it to the workbench so that it doesn't run away while we're busy grinding it. Just make sure that the holes that are in here line up exactly where they should. Alright guys, so we're almost ready to start it up. Then I forgot about the valves that we need to adjust. The valve lash, as they say. Basically that's actually why I bought this engine. It's the guy that had it said it no longer ran, or it started giving problems, and then after a while it stopped running. I did check the carburetor is alright. The only thing that I've noticed is with the valve springs, they are not basically, they are not tightened correctly as they should have been. I think the guy messed around there, probably wanted to get more torque or whatever out of the motor, some power or whatever, and he didn't know what he was doing, and then he messed around in there. So I'm going to quickly set the valve lashes on them, and make sure that everything is fine with the valves on them. Put some fuel in the carburetor, and then we'll start it up. Alright, so this is basically the valves and the rocker arms. We've got the rocker arms here, and we've got the valve springs there, and then the valves go into the head, and that's basically when the crankshaft turns, and it turns the rockers, the push rods, the rockers, it will push down the valves in there and open up which side ever the motor needs, like either air or exhaust. So the best way of doing this, or the only way of doing this, is to put the motor at top dead center. So we need to do it at a quick way and easy way. What we can do is we're going to remove the spark plug, and we can either check it with a screwdriver or with flashlight and see whether or not the piston is on top dead center. And then we can loosen up these bolts here, which are actually loose. Like I said, somebody's been in here. Loosen up those bolts, check the lash and tighten it exactly as manufacturer specifications. Okay, so let's start. Alright, so we need to set the valves, get the valve clearance basically set. We can loosen these two bolts here, and then for the intake where the carburetor is, it's going to need to be 0.15 millimeter clearance. That's going to be this thin one here, and then on the exhaust side we're going to need a 0.20 millimeter clearance. That's going to be the slightly thicker one. Alright, so let's quickly get these loose here, and we'll fit them in and then tighten them like we need to. These bolts are already a bit loose, so let's loosen them up here by hand. Okay, so now they're nice and loose. Alright, so for the intake we're going to need a small one, 0.15 millimeter. So we're going to tighten that one there, so you can just move this one in between there. There we go. Then that we can tighten with a spanner just now. Alright, so that one is basically almost set. Just tighten a bit more, that should be fine. And then for the exhaust, tighten that up. Around about there, that should be fine. Yeah. Just be careful, this, if you tighten this screw, it's going to tighten the middle one as well. So you're going to need to have two spanners, a 13 and a 10 millimeter metric spanner. That one, let's quickly fit it in there again. Alright, so let's get our spanners quickly ready. So we're going to put the 13 over. Seems to be maybe a 14. Then it's a 14. Alright, so now that we've got our 14 mil ring spanner, it should go over. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna just check the clearance before we tighten everything up, so that there's enough clearance on it. Must be just exactly like that. Keep it like. And tighten the outer screw. Go. It should be. Let's check it. Okay, nice. Now to do this one, it's the exhaust. It's going to be 0.20 millimeter. There we go. Yeah, that's just like that. Go our spanner. Be careful not to tighten it or turn it. There we go. Wow. That's sweet. Let's just test it. Might not even fit, but let's test it. Should go in there. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so we've went to a legendary way, yeah. We don't have a lot to make any parts on. We still need to get some. I'm gonna use 14mm socket. Put it on there, we'll weld it up and we'll grind it all down with the shaft so the clutch can fit on there. I think this is gonna be one of those legendary ways where if you don't have something, you make it work. And it should be fine, it's strong enough. Let's start this baby up quickly. Now all that we have to do is basically just cut a keyway into the shaft. I have to do that also with the grinder. I don't want to really, because that's going to be one of the hardest parts. Right, so we've trimmed down the shaft, we got the clutch on, we've mounted it back on or onto the go-kart basically. So it sounds almost the same as the 120, just with a little bit more deeper beat. Okay, so let me start her up for you so you can hear what she sounds like. Alright, that's all for now, guys. Tune in next week. We're gonna take it out. Gonna first fix up the seat, the steering, and then we're gonna take her out for a spin, and then see how much power she gained with this 80 more cc's that we gained. Just guys, keep well, keep safe. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you.